What's up, guys? This video is going to be a review video for the Unit 2 study guide. I'm going to do this video in two parts. The first part is going to be industrialization and immigration, and then the second part is going to be specifically for the progressive era. So I'm just going to go through all these questions. I'm going to type in the answer here, and then hopefully this will help you guys for the test. Alright, so number one says, why did Mark Twain refer to the Industrial Revolution as the Gilded Age? Well, the answer for that is going to be that laying beneath the surface was corruption. So we have corruption, we have pollution. Just think of all those negative things, things that were going on during the Industrial Revolution. Of course, there were good things, and that's why on the outside it looks nice. It looks nice. People are making money, things are being invented. However, beneath the surface, beneath that thin layer of gild, is these bad things. Corruption, pollution, stuff like that. So list some of the conditions. Number two, for immigrants in the cities, well, those are also going to be negative. So think of negative type things. More specifically, we have crime, overcrowding. Think of the tenements, overcrowding. So those types of things. You can also think of something we discussed was the high infancy deaths as well. So many babies are going to be dying. Those are some poor conditions of immigrants living in the cities. Number three, why were some business leaders in the late 1800s called robber barons? Robber barons are business leaders that use ruthless tactics to build their fortune. So fortune, lots of money. They make lots of money. Why? Because they are ruthless. They're going to do whatever it takes to make money. Number four, what was the processing center on the East Coast for immigrants arriving in the U.S.? There's two questions on the test that look very similar, and you guys have to read them very carefully. So here, the key phrase here is East Coast. So the processing center on the East Coast, we know that that is going to be Ellis Island. Ellis Island. Number five, what group of people had a preference for native-born people and a desire to limit immigration? Those are nativists, or nativism. You can think of nativism as well. They have a preference for native-born people. That's why they're called nativists. Number six, Spencer and others applied Darwin's theory of evolution and natural selection to human society. What is this idea called? Social Darwinism. And social Darwinism is this idea that the survival of the fittest, this idea is applied to society. So those that are the best at competing, those are the people that are going to survive and make the most money. Number seven, what was the effect of increased manufacturing? So what's going to happen with increased manufacturing? Think of the two I's that we talked about. We talked about industrialization and immigration. So those are going to be the effect. Now that there's more factories, we're going to see this overall growth in industrialization and growth in immigration, because immigrants are going to come mainly for these jobs that are being offered in the cities. List four contributing factors to the Industrial Revolution. That's number 8. Let's try to do 5. So number one we can say is abundant natural resources. So what are these? These are iron, timber, coal, things like this. There's a lot of. So they're able to produce some products such as steel and oil. Number two, let's put innovations. Innovations or inventions. Many inventions and innovations were created this time, so that's going to contribute to the Industrial Revolution. Thirdly, railroads. Let's put railroads. Now that there's railroads, people can transport these items that they're inventing. Number 4 is going to be a supportive government. how is the government going to support the Industrial Revolution? Were they going to support it through laissez-faire? And remember our lecture on laissez-faire where I was hands-off with the candy. And because I was hands-off with the candy, you guys did whatever you wanted. Many of you guys jumped up and you guys got the candy. It was laissez-faire. And lastly, put immigration, or you can also put, that's really just a large, that's a large labor supply. So these are going to be contributing factors to industrialization. Number 9, the rich should contribute to society through philanthropy and donating. This philosophy is reflected by which guy, which industrialist? That is Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie, he was the philanthropist out of the bunch. Number 10, what was Ford's great achievement in the production of automobiles? We had many great achievements. The one we're going to focus on is the assembly line. So that's the answer for number 10. Number 11, what was the movement to assimilate immigrants into the American way of life by teaching them English and American history? This one is Americanization. Americanization. When you think of this, think of how those classroom teachers, they wanted to Americanize these immigrants into America. They wanted to Americanize them. They wanted to get rid of they wanted to influence them to get rid of their Italian culture, their Irish culture, or their Russian culture. They wanted them to forget about those cultures and really just learn the American culture. They wanted to Americanize them. That's why it's called the Americanization movement. Number 12, which theory was used by the wealthy industrialists like Carnegie and Rockefeller to justify their wealth? They justified their wealth through social Darwinism. Number 13, if political bosses helped immigrants with essential services, why were they considered bad? They bribed. Bribing is not a good thing. So they bribed for votes. Did they help the city out? Sure they did. But their motivation, their purpose behind that was for votes to get elected. You cannot do that. That is bad. Do not do that. Number 14, survival of the fittest was a phrase coined by what scientists' theories? If you guys passed biology, you guys would know that that was Charles Darwin. Number 15, horizontal and vertical integration designed to eliminate competition at the end of the 19th century led to the formation of what? Well, these are going to create monopolies and trusts. Monopolies and trusts are going to be the result of both of these integrations, horizontal and vertical. Which industrialist dominated the oil? You think oil. You think who? John D. Rockefeller. So John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller. Which industrialist dominated the steel industry? You think steel, and you're going to say who? Carnegie. Or Carnegie. What are 3 results of the assembly line? You could list more than 3, but we're going to put efficiency. So efficiency is a big one. Efficiency. Let's see. Efficiency. That's not efficacy. Anyways, you guys get the idea. Efficiency. Number 2, mass production. So now things are going to be mass produced on a huge level, and it's also going to lower the cost. It's going to lower the cost of items because of the assembly line. They're able to produce things quicker, and even though there's more workers, overall the labor is cheaper for the business. Well, that's going to create lower cost products and items. Number 19, who did Andrew Carnegie believe should have a higher tax burden? Andrew Carnegie was wealthy, and he was a philanthropist, so he believed that the wealthy should carry that they should do their part. They should be responsible for the society for having the higher tax burden. Number 20, when businesses are owned by private citizens, companies compete to win customers by making the best products at the lowest prices. This is known as free enterprise. Free enterprise. 21, what are some of the focuses of Samuel Gompers and the AFL, the American Federation of Labor? That is a union. We talked about these in class. One of them was to get higher wages. Many of them of the workers made around $7, $8, $9, $10 a week. They wanted to raise that higher. They also wanted to improve working conditions. Improve working conditions. And then thirdly, they are going to want to lessen the workday, meaning hours. So they want to move the 12-hour workday. 12-hour workday, they want to move that to an 8-hour workday. 8-hour workday. 22. Asian immigration, or the mainly Asian immigration processing center on the West Coast. West Coast. Think West Coast. That is going to be Angel Island. It's in San Francisco. Number 23, when a company controls all stages of production for their product from start to finish, that is known as which integration? That's going to be vertical or vertical. Vertical integration. Vertical integration. Let's get rid of that T. All right, so finish the sentence. In the late 19th century, trusts were formed mainly to eliminate competition. That's their purpose. They want to gain the monopoly. Number 25. In the late 19th century, the populist movement were to improve the conditions of who? You think of populists. You think of farmers. Populists wanted to help out the farmers, and many farmers were populists. Not all populists are farmers, though. 26. The advocates of the blank during the late 1800s believed that city life could improve according to the biblical teachings of charity and justice. Social gospel. Talked about it in class. Be careful not to get this confused with social Darwinism. That's social gospel movement. 27. Urban immigrants during the late 19th and 20th centuries were influenced to support local political machines because they, well, why would the immigrants even want to be in relationship with the political machines? Well, the reason for that is they provided services for them. Now, of course, this is going to be an exchange for votes. 28. During the 19th century, industrialists opposed the increased coinage of silver. So who, or I shouldn't say who, but why are they going to oppose? Why are industrialists, put an S here, going to oppose the increased coinage of silver? Well, inflation. Inflation. They do not want silver. If they get silver, then that means that their money is now worth less. And that means that all those loans that they give out, now they're actually going to be paid back at a lesser value of dollar. 29. Total control of a type of industry by one person is called monopoly. Monopoly. Total control, just like the game. Number 30. During the Gilded Age, industrialists liked blank because the government interfered as little as possible in the nation's economy. That's that French word. Laissez-faire. Oops, not lassie. Laissez-faire. Okay. I think this is right. Laissez-faire. Let's put. Nope, that's close enough. 31. Due to overcrowding in the cities, many immigrants had to live in blank, which were dark, overcrowded family apartments. This is going to be tenements. Tenements are the dark, overcrowded apartments. 32. The efforts of Jane Addams and other social gospel reformers contributed to what? Well, they're going to help the urban poor. Help the urban poor. Remember that word urban? That word urban is going to be like city. People that live in cities. Number 33, in the early 1900s, Americans saw a rise in urbanization, primarily due to immigrants from blank and blank. Well, this is going to be Southern and Eastern Europe. Now, we will see immigrants come from other regions, but Southern and Eastern Europe were the main parts. Number 34, during the Gilded Age, people were leaving the blank countryside and moving to blank cities for work. Well, countryside, so that is going to be rural, the rural countryside, and moving to the urban cities for work. Number 35, to preserve their culture, most immigrants in the cities clustered into what? They clustered in enclaves. Think of Little Italy or Chinatown. And then our last question for this video, number 36, during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the U.S. government attempted to facilitate the growth of domestic industry by blank, which backfired and especially hurt farmers. I just want to put increasing tariffs. This is from your reading. We didn't talk about it specifically, but it was in your reading. Tariffs. All right, guys, so that's the end of part 1. And then check out part 2 for the rest of the study guide.